Oh hey, Melon and Jeeper here. I was just finishing up my review on this 6-switch panel from Custom 3D Fab. I'd like to show you what I found. Let's go. Alright, here's what I have. I have a 6-switch panel from Custom 3D Fab. This is designed to go into the Jeep Cherokee XJ 97-01 model. I'm going to tell you what I like about this, I'm going to tell you what I don't like about it, and I'm going to tell you if it is worth your money. So, the very first thing we did is we put this thing in the freezer. As soon as it came out of the freezer, no problems. It bent, it twisted, it done everything it was supposed to do. It didn't lose any of its rigidity. It didn't want to crack. And under normal operating conditions, at least as cold as my freezer gets, which I think is, I don't know, but it's pretty cold. I mean, it freezes meat. This should be fine. So, will it fit your factory switches? When I say factory switches, I mean these rocker switches that came with your XJ. And the answer to that is, let's see if it goes in there. I had it in there a moment ago, I thought. Not only do they fit in there, but they fit very, very well. Now, I saw a video on the old YouTube about these switches falling out. So that's the next thing that I wanted to see, is will these switches fall out? As you see, they're very easy to install, and I'm not putting them in any particular order. They're very easy to install, and will they come out? The answer to that is no, they will not come out. And so that means under normal operating conditions, you can push the buttons, you can turn the buttons off, and this is gonna withstand your fat fingers. I believe this is going to withstand normal use and normal wear and tear. I do believe that this could last the life of the vehicle as far as it's constructed. And as far as it's constructed, we're going to talk about that in a moment too. When we go to their website, we'll get into how exactly this is constructed and what is it exactly made from. Okay. Now, as for your factory panel, we know that it's good to go. This factory panel's probably lasted in that Jeep, yeah, 21 years, 20 years. So we know this is good to go. If I had it all to do over again, I would have gotten the 7-switch panel because I don't need the extra power outlet, nor do I need a cigarette lighter. So speaking of cigarette lighters, let's talk about that. The hole that comes in this switch panel, this is the only thing that I don't like, but I think that we can fix that, and that's what I was referring to earlier, is that you cannot take the factory cigarette lighter or the, I don't have one sitting out here, or the factory power outlet out of the XJ and slide them in this hole. Now, I will go out in just a moment and grab one of the aftermarket power adapters that will fit in this hole, but let me talk about why it will not fit in this hole. It's going to be a little difficult to see, but I'm going to do the best that I can. Let me bring a little bit of light over here so that you can see. Alright. Let's take the cigarette lighter one for instance because it's easier to see. Let me get this in the field of view there. Hold on. Let's get that back a little. Alright. Okay, so this is not really going to cooperate with us. Maybe. Alright, well, inside of here, if I can point to it with my knife, right there is a collar, okay? And that collar is what seems to me plaster welded, if that makes any sense, to this piece. Okay, so this collar, can I get in closer? No, that's a little better angle right there. This collar right here is what holds this in, your cigarette lighter. So what I've done is I have taken my Dremel and I have, let's see, removed that collar out of the back of there, as you can see. Okay, and what essentially that does is that makes those two holes the same. I mean, I'm not going to get out a tape measure, but reasonably those two holes are exactly the same. However, this is the collar that I removed from the factory, and as you can see, let me see where it connects. If you can see right there, this is where that collar, this piece, holds this in there. So traditionally what we would see is that this hole right here would be smaller, and then you have something like this where you can screw it together and it holds itself in there. In this case, not so much. You gotta have that piece. So this is what I'm thinking. Well, I'll go get the piece and show you how well it fits with the aftermarket setup. I do believe if there was a way that you could 3D print this collar right here and somehow, I said plaster weld earlier, but somehow friction weld it to the inside of there, you could use your factory cigarette lighters or your factory power outlet to maintain that factory XJ look, all the while having all your switches. Or you could just do what I probably should have done in the beginning, which is order the 7-switch panel. So now that we've got this in, I've showed you how these fit on the inside. I've showed you that it's not going to break in the cold, and these are not going to fall out under normal operating conditions. Let's go out to the XJ and I'll show you how it fits in the dash and what it looks like. And then here is a better look at the very top of the collar. And this is the part that I actually think is either friction welded or whatever to this plastic. What I do believe is that this piece right here, that collar, and this piece originated as two separate whole pieces, and this piece was added. But that's enough about that. Okay, so if you look here, we've got the 6-switch panel. And again, had I had this to do over again, because we're going to be running GRMS in this Jeep, as well as all the other ones as well, I would have left that 7th one a rectangle like this. So I could have added a, what is that, an RG56 port, where I could have put an Ethernet cable. So that's the only thing that I would have done differently. And in my MJ, and it's for this one, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to custom 3D Fab, and I'm going to get a 7-switch panel, and the 7th switch being one that'll fit my to fit an Ethernet cable for the GRMS. So here I have I went and stole from another project a USB, and this is one that you would get off of eBay or Amazon, just your run-of-the-mill USB port. So it easily slides in there, and it also has the lip to catch the outside of that, and it hides the I don't know what you would call it, but it has that little grid on the inside of there. It does it perfectly. You can also slide leave the cap on there if you want, or you can take it off. For our purposes, for now, we're going to leave it on, and you just go right from the back. You can do it with a switch installed. Now, I haven't installed this in the truck yet. We're going to do that together. However, that means I don't know if there's going to be enough room back there, how this is all going to work. Now, what we're not going to do is we're not going to hook up any of the switches. Obviously, get that tightened up in there. So So yeah, that's perfect. Let's see. Yeah, that's perfect. If I turn it straight, it'll be even perfecter. Look at that, boom. So that looks really good. Let's go ahead and rip this panel off and get this installed. Again, what I was saying was I'm not gonna connect any of them for the purposes of this. Oh, my bad. For the purposes of this, we're just looking to see how this fits and the ease of installation. So we all know how to get that thing off. No need to go into that. Now I've already got the old panel removed, as you can see. So I'm just going to tuck my wires back in there. I'm not going to hook anything up right at this momento. I am going to make a video though on my extended idle switch and any additional electronics I may decide to hook up in here. So we're using the factory screws, same factory holes. We're not going to do anything any different except use the right screws. Alright. Looks like everything is lining up pretty easily. One more screw here on this side. Alright, so far so good. Seems like a pretty solid fit. Boom. There it is. I'll zoom you in here. So that's what she looks like. I think that it is perfect for what we're going to do in this XJ. However, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give this 5 Melanin Jeeps out of 5. It's obviously, it's exactly what any XJ owner who wants to keep the factory look of his XJ there and factory. It's perfect for the guy who wants to add a few extra switches and doesn't want a bunch of wires running through his console, or doesn't want to cut a hole somewhere in the dash, or run a bunch of wires where wires don't belong. This is exactly what you're looking for. I recommend this, again, 5 Melanin Jeeps out of 5. This is perfect.